Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. Today, October 12th, 2012, we can stand still. We don't have to be afraid. And we can see the salvation of the Lord. And he will accomplish it. That's Exodus chapter 14:13. And it's appropriate to mention that again as we delve back into David here today and see more and more David's complete reliance upon God and what a lesson it is for us. And in Samuel, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, and even in the Kings, we get to see the narrative of David's life, and then thrown throughout, sprinkled throughout all of this, we have the Psalms, which is the experience of David's life. And how great it is to have this window into his life, to really see the experience, to really see what's going on, to really see the song of his heart. Because, again, it's God that knows the heart, not us. And thank goodness for that. But may we pray for spiritual eyes, to see, as we move throughout our day, and pray for discernment as we have interactions, to see with spiritual eyes and not be so quick to judge, or maybe in that moment to be quick to judge, to have that discernment and to follow suit, because we can't really see what's going on in our life. We don't see how God's working. We can't see the heart. We can't see the motives, and not to be quick to assume, but to be quick to love and embrace. To just may that be our prayer for the day. And also, before jumping into chapter 24 here in Samuel, a verse I want to share. It has to do with contentment. And as I read and think about David, I keep thinking of contentment, being content with what we've got. And whether we find ourselves full, hungry, in need, not in need, stressed, not stressed, with or without, whatever it may be. And just this picture of David on the run, living in these caves. The only thing that I personally have to think about are the times that I've been backpacking, for an extended period of time. And if some of you have done the same thing, what a kind of a freshness it does bring when everything that we need is just in a backpack, to come into a campsite, completely break out, the tent, set up, have some food to eat, and then in the morning wake up, pack it all up, and it's all on your back, and you're covering some ground. And it's a lesson that really shows you how much we really don't need, how much we, and then the small things. It's really the small things that provide, and to have those. So contentment. So thinking about David, and in Philippians in the New Testament, chapter 4, verses 11 through 13. Paul, speaking to the Philippians, he says, "Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And I think David is just in the heart of that. As we study him here in Samuel, just in all things, it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." All things. And David just in utter reliance upon God. And one more thing before we jump into chapter 24 here is there's a love that's playing out. There's in this reliance upon God and God's will, and just for his fellow man, there's a love that's exhibited by David. And I want to reference Matthew chapter 5, verse 44. Matthew says, quoting Jesus, Jesus says here, "But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you." Why? That you may be sons of your Father in heaven, for he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. Chapter 24. Now it happened when Saul had returned from following the Philistines that it was told him, saying, "Take note, David is in the wilderness of En-gedi." Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men from all Israel and went to seek David and his men on the rocks of the wild goats. So he came to the sheepfolds by the road, where there was a cave, and Saul went in to attend to his needs. David and his men were staying in the recesses of the cave. Then the men of David said to him, "This is the day of which the Lord said to you, Behold, I will deliver your enemy into your hand, that you may do to him as it seems good to you." And David arose and secretly cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Now it happened afterward that David's heart troubled him, because he had cut Saul's robe. And he said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do this thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch out my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord." So David restrained his servants with these words, and did not allow them to rise against Saul. And Saul got up from the cave and went on his way. David also arose afterward, went out of the cave, and called out to Saul, saying, "My lord the king." And when Saul looked at him, David stooped with his face to the earth and bowed down. And David said to Saul, "Why do you listen to the words of men who say, 'Indeed, David seeks your harm'? Look, this day your eyes have seen that the Lord delivered you today into my hand in the cave, and someone urged me to kill you. But my eyes spared you. And I said, I will not stretch out my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. Moreover, my father, see the corner of your robe in my hand. For then I cut off the corner of your robe, and did not kill you. Know and see that there is neither evil nor rebellion in my hand. And I have not sinned against you, yet you hunt my life to take it. Let the Lord judge between you and me, and let the Lord avenge me on you. But my hand shall not be against you. As the proverb of the ancients says, wickedness proceeds from the wicked. But my hand shall not be against you. After whom has the king of Israel come out? Whom do you pursue?" So here he is, it's talking to Saul, just saying, hey, who is it that you're seeking out? Is it me? A dead dog, a flea? Therefore, let the Lord be judge, and judge between you and me, and see and plead my case, and deliver me out of your hand. So it was, when David had finished speaking these words to Saul, that Saul said, "Is this your voice, my son, David?" And Saul lifted up his voice and wept. Then he said to David, "You are more righteous than I, for you have rewarded me with good, whereas I have rewarded you with evil. And you have shown this day how you have dealt well with me. For when the Lord delivered me into your hand, you did not kill me. For if a man finds his enemy, will he let him get away safely? Therefore may the Lord reward you with good for what you have done to me this day. And now I know, indeed, that you shall surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in your hand. Therefore swear now to me by the Lord that you will not cut off my descendants after me, and that you will not destroy my name from my father's house." So David swore to Saul. And Saul went home, but David and his men went up to the stronghold. Big stuff there. Really, really, really big stuff. In the cave with 600 men. Saul's right here at David's hand, and he has this opportunity to avenge, to kill, and maybe rightfully so. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that a large percentage of the men that were there with him saw this exactly as the opportunity for David to kill Saul, but he doesn't. He cuts off a piece of the robe, and even cutting off the piece of the robe, he felt bad about it. What did he say here? He cut it off, and right after cutting off the robe, he says to his 600 men, "The Lord forbid that I should do this thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch out my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord." David, again, in utter dependence upon God. And for these 600 men to see this, they know who Saul is. They know who David is. And in this moment, the very man thing to do would be to take vengeance. Kill him. Be done with it. Take the throne. Let's go, man. Let's seize it. Let's rock and roll. And he doesn't. He doesn't. And all he does is cut off the robe, and he even feels bad about that, and he tells his men so. I mean, what were the men thinking? And that they were stayed. That the men that were with him heard David. And what kind of impact did it have? And it obviously had an impact, because none of the other 600 men took Saul either. That's huge. That's massive. And so they're getting to see this, an example. And what example are you, and what example am I in our lives? That we would be a witness to God in our life. Not that we're going to be perfect, but that we're constantly seeking, and that it's evident in our life to follow the commandments of God, to understand who God is, and to prayerfully seek him in every moment, in every day, in everything that's going on. That our yes be yes, that our no be no. Not to have this fear of man and to please man, but to have a fear of God. And that's exactly what David has here. This amazing fear of God. And this example has such power, even with those right with him in the moment. And then for Saul, Saul was anointed king as well, as is David. They both were in the same context with God. Yet one man is going mad, while one man is being built up in God. And this snippet of Saul completely being melted by David. He saw in David, he saw God. He saw exactly what was going on. David did have the chance to take vengeance. And Saul acknowledged this. And you have shown this day, verse 18, how you have dealt well with me. For when the Lord delivered me to your hand, you did not kill me. For if a man finds his enemy, will he let him get away safely? Saul wouldn't. Saul knew he wouldn't. And he had the question, what man would do this? A man who's in complete reliance on God. That's who. And now this window again, Psalm 57, right on the heels of this. Be merciful to me, O God, be merciful to me, for my soul trusts in you. And in the shadow of your wings I will make my refuge. Until these calamities have passed by. David's completely surrounded. He's being pursued. And yet in the shadow of your wings I will make my refuge. Until these calamities have passed by. May you be hidden in Christ. Until the calamities in your day pass by. I will cry out to God Most High, to God who performs all things for me. He shall send from heaven and save me. He reproaches the one who would swallow me up. God shall send forth his mercy and his truth. My soul is among lions. Where is your soul? I lie among the sons of men who are set on fire, whose teeth are spears and arrows, and their tongue a sharp sword. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let your glory be above all the earth. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have dug a pit before me. Into the midst of it they themselves have fallen. My heart is steadfast, O God. My heart is steadfast. I will sing and give praise. Awake, my glory. Awake, lute and harp. I will awake in the dawn. I will praise you, O Lord, among the peoples. I will sing to you among the nations. For your mercy reaches unto the heavens, and your truth unto the clouds. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let your glory be above all the earth. So 20 seconds here to finish up. Where is your soul? Here Saul's was among the lions. Where is your soul today? They've dug a pit for you. His heart is steadfast. He breaks out the lute, the heart to awaken the dawn. Be exalted, O God. May God be exalted in your day-to-day, guys. God bless you.